Okay, gather round. I've got a story for you. And it starts in the quietest, most isolated place you can imagine. A room. A room inside a little boy's mind. And this isn't a memory he's choosing to visit. No, it's more like a feeling that just found him. A sudden, chilling awareness of being completely and utterly alone.
A lone, inner room with white walls. Just let that sink in for a second. That's where we are. He's in a lounge chair, the floor is gray, the ceiling is white, and there's just one single sterile light bulb hanging overhead. And the silence, it's just total.
You look around, and there's nothing to see. The walls are this perfect, unbroken canvas of white. No windows to look out of, no pictures to tell you a story, just blankness. Except, over in the corner, there's a little table with a single fake plant on it. Its green is the only color in the whole place, and it's not even real.
And then, that's when you notice it. The door. It's solid, imposing. It's sealed so tightly it almost looks like it's part of the wall itself. It's the only way out, the only break in all that white. And it is definitely shut.
And that's when this cold little knot of panic starts to form in your stomach, right? The kid, he starts looking for a way to leave, but there's no handle. It's not just a door, it's a seal. You're not just in a room, you are trapped. And right at that moment when the panic is about to boil over, the door clicks open.
Standing in the doorway, there's this tall, slim man, and he's wearing a white professor's coat. He seems calm, and his presence just kinda soothes the panic in the room. He looks around, almost like he recognizes the place, and then he explains that this room, it's his own creation, a memory that he built. But he's no ordinary guide. He looks at the boy, his name is Ryan, and he just lays out this impossible truth. He's not a doctor, he's not a ghost, he is Ryan, a much older version of him, who's come back to this exact moment, to this space in his own mind, to walk through the past with his younger self.
So the rules of this place start to make sense. This isn't real, not in the way we think of it. It's a construct, a safe room, built inside a mind, a shared space for two versions of the same person. But that safety, it ends right at the doorway. Because everything they came back to face is waiting for them on the other side.
And the world they're about to step into? Man. Palu Crescent in the late 80s, this place was haunted long before any actual ghosts showed up. This was a place where the monsters were all too real.
I mean, just try to picture the chaos. It's this sprawling loop of government housing just buzzing with this restless, dangerous energy. You've got kids with absolutely no rules and parents who cared even less, chucking spray cans into bonfires just to hear that kaboom. You've got drunk neighbors whose only hobby was screaming obscenities at children. There's a giant field in the middle of it all, but you can't even use it because it's covered in these poisonous spikes, and just hanging over everything is the constant, oppressive hum of these giant power lines.
And in a place like that, you just know violence is going to find you. After almost getting blown up by one of those cans, all Ryan wants to do is get his favorite hat back from a neighbor's yard. But the kids there, they had other plans. They sick their dog on him. And the memory is just so visceral, a blur of snarling and teeth, the feeling of that dog's jaw gripping his leg, biting down and just shaking it like a rag doll.
And the price for getting his hat back? 17 stitches, a tetanus shot, and this deep, psychological scar that proved his everyday world, it was a battlefield. But the thing is, the war for this kid's peace of mind was being fought on two fronts. Because if the world outside was a physical threat, the world inside his own home was a spiritual one. And this wasn't some kid's imagination. This was just a fact of his life. The house was, and I'm quoting him here, majorly fucking haunted.
I mean, can you even wrap your head around living there? You'd be sitting in your room and suddenly hear a baby crying from an empty corner. You'd catch these shimmering mists of light just at the edge of your vision. You'd see full-bodied figures just walk straight through walls. And then there was the girl, a redhead with a face that was half burnt, who would just appear at the end of the bed, give a calm little smile, and then fade away.
But of all the spirits rattling around in that house, one was different. It wasn't attached to the place. It didn't come with the lease. No, this one was summoned. It was invited in through a stupid schoolyard game and a bathroom mirror. Now look, there is a rational, scientific explanation for this. Psychologists will tell you it's a natural optical illusion. If you stare at your own reflection in a dark room long enough, your brain gets deprived of information and it just starts to fill in the blanks. Your own face can warp, it can melt, it can get all distorted. It's a trick of the mind. It's totally normal.
Yeah, but what Ryan saw, it wasn't a trick of the light. It wasn't his own face changing. He saw something else, something separate, a shape, a presence. He calls it a black mass, a black evil blob. It didn't look at him, but it saw him. He had played a game, and in doing so, he had just opened a door.
So for a second, let's step away from the boy's fear. Let's flip the script. Let's try to understand the story from the other side of the glass. Let's hear it from the point of view of the thing that was invited in.
From its perspective, from its dimension of reflections, the human world is just these flashes of conflict and emotion. And it operates by a really simple set of rules. To give it a name is to grant it access. So when those kids in the schoolyard were chanting Mary Jane Walker, they weren't just playing a game, they were forging a key.
And here's the chilling part of the bargain. Simply acknowledging it is like putting out a welcome mat. Paying attention to it is like holding the door open. But fear, oh, fear is food. All that constant terror in Ryan's life, from the neighborhood, from the ghosts, from his own home, it wasn't just an emotion, it was fuel. It was a feast.
And here's the most important part. The entity didn't force its way in. A child's mind, especially a mind that's soaked in trauma and is desperate for any kind of control or protection, that's an incredibly powerful thing. Ryan's imagination is what created the doorway, and his desperate will to just survive held it wide open.
And so, it found the perfect host. It found a home so filled with fear that it could just grow and grow and grow. In fact, it feasted so much on that boy's terror that it became too big to ever go back through the mirror it came from. Not that it wants to leave. Why would it? This one child, this one traumatized boy, provides everything it could ever possibly need.
Which leaves us with this really unsettling question, doesn't it? We know that a child's mind, when it's put under that much stress, will do absolutely anything to cope. It'll create defenses, it'll alter reality, it will even summon protectors. So if a boy's trauma gives birth to a monster that literally feeds on his pain, a dark guardian born from his own suffering, well, who's consuming who